The wind pushed through the tall, dry grass like a whisper from the past. The old wooden gate creaked as Daniel Carter stepped out of his truck and stared at the farm he had not seen in 17 years. He told himself he felt nothing, but the moment his boots touched the dirt of the driveway, memories rushed back like a flood that had been waiting behind a broken dam. Daniel had come for only one reason: to sell the farm. To sell the land where he had grown up, the land where his brother had died. At least, that was what he believed. The farmhouse stood crooked now, its paint peeling, its porch sagging under the weight of time. The barn door hung half open, swaying slightly in the wind. Everything looked smaller than Daniel remembered. Smaller and sadder. He adjusted the collar of his coat and walked toward the house. 17 years since the fire, 17 years since they told him his little brother Ethan had died inside that barn. Daniel had been 19 then, Ethan was only 13. A careless spark, they said, an accident. The barn burned for hours that night, flames reaching into the dark sky like angry hands. By the time the fire trucks arrived, it was too late. They found what they believed were Ethan's remains inside. Their parents never recovered from the loss. Their mother passed away 2 years later. Their father followed not long after. Daniel left the farm and never looked back until now. He had received a letter from the county saying the property taxes had gone unpaid for years. The land was practically worthless now, but someone had offered a small amount for it. Enough to close the chapter forever. That was all Daniel wanted: closure. He stepped onto the porch and pushed the door open. Dust floated in the sunlight, streaming through broken curtains. The house smelled like wood, earth, and old memories. Furniture still sat where it had always been. A cracked photo frame hung on the wall showing 2 boys covered in mud, smiling proudly beside a freshly planted apple tree. Daniel and Ethan. His chest tightened. He looked away. Just sell it, he muttered to himself. That's it. He walked through the hallway, checking the rooms one by one. Everything was empty, silent, until he heard something. A sound outside, a faint metallic clank coming from the barn. Daniel froze. The barn. His heart started beating faster. It had to be the wind, or maybe some local kid messing around. He stepped back outside and stared toward the barn. The door moved again, not with the wind, with intention. Someone was inside. Daniel grabbed a rusted shovel leaning against the porch and slowly walked down the dirt path. Every step felt heavier than the last. His mind raced with possibilities. A squatter, a thief. He reached the barn door and pushed it open slowly. The hinges screamed. Sunlight spilled across the wooden floor, and there, standing near the workbench, was a man. The man turned. Daniel dropped the shovel. The world seemed to stop, because the face staring back at him was the one he had buried 17 years ago. Ethan, older, taller, with a beard and tired eyes, but it was him. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. That's not possible, he whispered. The man stared at him with the same stunned expression. For a long moment neither of them spoke. Then the man said softly, his voice trembling, "Danny." Daniel staggered backward like he had been punched. "No." He shook his head violently. "No, that's not funny. That's not possible. Ethan died." The man slowly stepped forward. "I didn't die." Daniel felt dizzy. "You're lying," he snapped. "I saw the reports." They found bones," Ethan interrupted quietly. "But they weren't mine." Silence filled the barn. Daniel's heart pounded in his ears. "How?" he demanded. Ethan looked down at his hands, rough and scarred from years of work. "The fire started in the loft. I tried to put it out, but it spread too fast. I got trapped and panicked. I thought I was going to die." He paused, but one of the farmhands, old Mr. Holloway, he pulled me out the back before the flames reached us. Daniel remembered him. A quiet man who helped their father during harvest seasons. "But if you survived," Daniel said slowly, "why didn't you come home?" Ethan's face darkened with pain. "I tried." He took a deep breath. "Dad was already there when the fire trucks arrived. He saw the barn burning and the bodies they pulled out. By the time I got back to the house, the police had already declared me dead." Daniel frowned. "That still doesn't explain why you disappeared for 17 years. Ethan's voice broke. "Because I heard Dad." "What?" "He was inside the house talking to the sheriff. He kept saying it was my fault, that I had been playing with tools again, that I probably started the fire." Daniel felt his stomach twist. "That doesn't sound like Dad." Ethan nodded slowly. "He was angry. Grieving. I was 13 and terrified. I thought he blamed me for everything. I thought he didn't want me anymore." "So you ran away?" Daniel whispered. Ethan nodded. "I left that night. Mr. Holloway helped me get to a bus station. I thought I'd come back once things cooled down. His voice cracked, but then Mom died. Then Dad. Daniel's chest tightened painfully, and after that, I didn't know how to come back. I thought you'd hate me too. Daniel felt tears building in his eyes. I thought you were dead, he said hoarsely. We buried you. Ethan wiped his face. I know. Then why are you here now? Ethan looked around the barn. I never stopped thinking about this place. About you. About the apple tree we planted. Daniel remembered they were 8 and 14. It barely survived its first winter, but Ethan watered it every single day. I came back a few months ago, Ethan said quietly. I wanted to see it one last time before the farm disappeared. Daniel's heart skipped. You knew it was being sold? I heard rumors in town. The brothers stood there in silence. 17 years of pain, anger, and misunderstanding filled the space between them. Finally Daniel spoke. You should have come to me. Ethan nodded. I know. You should have written. I know. Daniel laughed bitterly through tears. You idiot. Ethan gave a weak smile. I missed you too. The tension broke. Daniel stepped forward and pulled his brother into a tight embrace. For a moment they were just two boys again, standing in the barn, muddy boots and big dreams. When they finally stepped back, Daniel wiped his eyes. You know what's funny? He said. What? I came here today to sell this place. Ethan's face fell. Daniel looked around the barn, the cracked beams, the dusty tools, the faded memories. Then he looked at his brother. But maybe that was the wrong plan. Ethan blinked. What do you mean? Daniel smiled slightly. This farm has been dead for 17 years. He placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. Maybe it's time to bring it back to life. Ethan stared at him in disbelief. You'd really stay? Daniel looked toward the apple tree visible through the barn window. It was still standing, still growing, despite everything. Yeah, he said softly. I think I will. The wind moved gently through the fields again, but this time it didn't sound like whispers of the past. It sounded like the beginning of something new. And sometimes life has a strange way of reminding us that what we think is lost forever might just be waiting for us to come home.